Hello there guys, Raj here. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are doing well. Today's video is going to be called If Fragrances Were Footballers. When I say footballers, some people will call them soccer players. I'm talking about the beautiful game. This video is a little bit of fun. It's not to be taken too seriously. Or seriously at all, actually. And it's a bit of a quirky concept that I had. I've actually done a very similar video a few years ago. So some of you may remember that, and I called that my Fragrance Football Starting 11, something like that. I'll leave the link down below if you want to take a trip down memory lane. And I thought I'd do a refreshed version of that. So basically, what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to select some positions. So a goalkeeper, 2 defenders, 2 midfielders, and 2 strikers. I'm not going to do the full 11. And in those positions, I'm going to select a player. And I'm going to select a fragrance that I feel goes appropriately well with that position. So, as I said, it's a bit of a strange idea. Some of you might find it a bit weird. But I'm a big fan of football, and as you know, I'm a big fan of fragrances, so I thought, let me combine the two. So, starting off with the first position, and this is goalkeeper. So a goalkeeper is stopping the opposition from scoring, from putting the ball in the back of his net, and he has to be safe, reliable, has to have a strong presence, and the fragrance that I went for is from Tweed, and it is Green Iris Tweed. I'm going to be showing pictures of some of the fragrances that I don't own, but the fragrances that I don't own, I did used to have, so I know the fragrances very well, and they're all fragrances that, to be honest, I would probably repurchase again. I have some full bottles also here. So yeah, Green Irish Tweed, it's a beautiful fragrance, reliable, easy to wear, strong masculine fragrance, and the player that I've chosen to go into this position is the current Manchester United goalkeeper, David De Gea. The Spaniard has been so good for Man United and Spain, and he is somebody who has saved the team a lot of points. He's a great shot stopper. He always does well against my beloved Arsenal, always stopping us from scoring. And yeah, a lot of people say best goalkeeper in the world. It's all up for debate, but yeah, I went with De Gea and Green Irish Tweed. Moving on to the defenders, and the first defender that I've chosen is a player who also plays in the Premier League. He's a Dutch defender, and he's now with Liverpool, and the defender is Virgil van Dijk. I've really admired Van Dijk from the days of being back in Scotland, playing for Celtic. He then moved to Southampton and then made the big money move over to Anfield, and he's really sorted out their leaky defence. He's a really good player. They bought him for like 75 million, I think it was. A huge amount of money, but it's definitely what they needed. And the fragrance that I've chosen to go along with this central defender and Van Dijk is Parfums de Marly's Herrera. Now this, as you can see from the bottle, is a strong looking bottle, just like the Green Irish Tweed one that I've shown in the picture. It's like an armor around them, and you need that in the central defense, somebody strong and stern and explosive at times, and this fragrance certainly packs a punch. So Parfums de Marly's Herrera in the heart of defense. Okay, joining these two, I've got a retired defender. He's a legend in the game, and has played for Italy for so many years, and AC Milan. You guys may have guessed by that. The player I've chosen is Paolo Maldini. What a legend. Such a good defender. You know, Italians are so well known for defending, especially during Maldini's era. Really was part of this solid defensive unit, and a lot of teams just could not get past them. Certainly could not get past him. And the fragrance that I've chosen to go with that, with this position and with Maldini, is Guerlain's Heritage. Heritage is a classic fragrance. It's old school, but it's also modern as well, and has kept up with today's times. Like Maldini, who went on for it seemed like forever until he retired. And this certainly starts off quite strong and is quite a shock to the system. maybe like a crunching tackle from Maldini, and is a beauty from Guerlain. Very, very masculine. Love this scent. Alright. Okay, so we are on to the midfielders. Now, as you guys know, I'm an Arsenal fan. And so we've bought a new player this season. And the midfielder that I've chosen is Lukas Torreira. The Uruguayan has joined Arsenal this season and is definitely what we needed in the middle of the park. He's more of a defensive midfielder, so he stops the attackers getting to our defence. He breaks up the play and then he pushes on up the field. So he's got a bit of versatility in there, I feel. He's a player who is strong and quick and is definitely a reliable player as well, but with a bit of flair. So the fragrance that I've chosen to go along with that is Bvlgari's Man in Black. And again, this is strong, masculine, but it's got some really interesting notes. There's like leather and rum and some spices. It's not safe, but it can be at times quite forceful. And I really, really love this fragrance. And Torreira is just one hell of a player. He's a young guy. I think he's got a lot of potential and hopefully blooms into maybe a future Arsenal captain. Who knows? Okay, and the second midfielder I've chosen, I've gone for an attacking midfielder. Somebody who maybe doesn't always get the limelight and maybe the praise that they deserve, but is a player who, in the middle of the park, is the creative force, driving forward, maybe putting in the crosses, putting in those through balls, those assists for the strikers, and also sometimes popping up with goals himself. And the player that I've chosen to go into this position is Luka Modric. The Croatian this year, I feel deservedly won the FIFA Ballon d'Or award, and that award had been dominated by Ronaldo and Messi for so many years. And the Croatian, he is, you know, for a lot of time, he flew underneath the radar, but was such a consistent performer for Real Madrid. Look, he's won the Champions League and the titles so many times, the La Liga. Got to the final with Croatia in the World Cup, in last summer's World Cup, but you know, came up against a pretty strong France team. But Modric, so creative. Even when he was in the Premier League for Tottenham, you could tell his quality. He was a great he is a great player. Luka Modric, I'm glad he got the recognition he deserves. So, going on to, oh, of course, and the fragrance that, completely forgot the fragrance. The fragrance that I've chosen for Luka Modric is Xerjoff's 1861 Renaissance. This is a fragrance that I used to have, and I definitely have it on my list of fragrances to repurchase. The best fresh fragrance out there, in my opinion. Hands down, beautiful lime, lemons, and there's also some floral notes in there with some woodier elements in there too. It's a very classic formulation, but high impact. Amazing ingredients, long lasting, is very, very... It has a mint in there as well, giving it a feeling of being quite quick, if you see what I mean. I'm trying to put it in footballing terms. Yeah, it really is sparkling. It's just a beautiful fragrance. So that's the fragrance I've chosen to go along with my second midfielder and Luka Modric. Going on to the strikers. Now, the first striker I've chosen, this guy has burst onto the scene at such a young age, has made such an impact on global football, and he's only, well, he's a teenager now, or maybe he turned 20, I think. I can't remember his age, 19, 20. Plays for France, plays for PSG. This guy is Kylian Mbappe. Mbappe, when I first saw him, the first time I really became aware of him was when he was at Monaco, playing in the Champions League. And there was one game where Monaco played Manchester City, and Mbappe had put in a great performance. And I've kind of kept an eye on him. He made a huge move over to Paris Saint-Germain and was a pivotal figure in France winning the World Cup. last summer in 2018. He scored a couple of goals along the way, more than a couple, and so athletic, so powerful, quick, is a great finisher. He can only improve as well, which is the scary thing. The fragrance that I've chosen to go along with Kylian Mbappe is from Creed. It's Creed Aventus. Aventus the King, you know, it's an amazing fragrance. It's maybe overhyped, maybe overvalued, maybe Kylian Mbappe have similar traits. They paid a little bit too much money for him, but you're also gonna, if you do buy Aventus at full retail price, you are gonna get a high impact fragrance. It has a beautiful fruity, crisp fruity notes in there with some rose and some birch. It's been spoken about ad nauseum here on YouTube, and is one of the most popular fragrances in the industry. I feel for a reason. Creed Aventus, the king, goes along with Mbappe, maybe the future king of football. Let's see. The next player I've chosen, the second striker and the final player in this lineup, is a player who is, like Maldini, retired. Personally, one of the greatest footballers I've ever seen. Certainly in my time. He was a former Arsenal player. He's a Dutch player. Used to play with Ajax. That probably will give it away. The player I've chosen is Dennis Bergkamp. If you've never seen Dennis Bergkamp play, go onto YouTube right now. Pause this video. Go onto YouTube. Click on the search bar. Type in Dennis Bergkamp top 10 goals or something like that. This player was like, Dennis Bergkamp was like a ballet player. He was such, he played with such finesse and elegance, but he also had some strength about him. He was a player who had a lot of, he was multi-layered. He was great at putting in the assists, scoring some wonderful goals. He had amazing trickery, amazing ball control, but was also, you know, he had a bite to him. You know, there were times where he got stuck in. He wasn't afraid to get stuck into a tackle, and he definitely had a strength to him, which I really liked. He wasn't a lightweight player, even though he was full of flicks and tricks and things like that. Some of the passes he made, some of the goals he scored were so good for Arsenal and also for Holland as well. I remember that goal in the World Cup. Was it the, where was it? Was it the 98 World Cup? I can't remember. But I remember against Argentina. Was it Frank de Boer? Again, I can't remember. Frank de Boer put in this long ball crossfield. Bergkamp in the air, controlled it, took it down, and with his third touch, with the outside of his boot, put it into the goal. And if you ever get a chance to watch that goal on YouTube, try and find the one with Dutch commentary, because it's just the most hilarious thing I've ever heard. Dennis Bergkamp, he has a statue outside the Emirates Stadium, rightfully so. A legend for Arsenal Football Club, one of my greatest players I've ever seen. And the fragrance that I've chosen to go along with Dennis Bergkamp is again one of my favourite fragrances. I no longer have it because I felt it was just too expensive to have, but I do have a couple of large decants, so I'm pretty good. It's from Roja Parfums, and the fragrance is Diaghilev. What an incredible fragrance Diaghilev is. I've reviewed it. It's expensive. Look, it's like £750, maybe even more now for 100 ml. But the layers of complexity in there, the ingredients, the classic style, the impact. There's leather, it's a chypre fragrance, there's rose and spices, it's woody, there's vetiver. There's so much actually in the fragrance, and it really comes through over time. It's like watching a symphony. It's like watching an orchestra take place. It's like watching one of the greatest players in the game dominate a match. What a fragrance from Roja Parfums, Diaghilev. So there, guys. Yeah, a weird idea, but you know, as I said, I'm a massive football fan. Obviously, I thought let me just combine that video with fragrances again. As I said, I've done a similar video like this a few years ago, and the link is below in the description box. Now, over to you. Let me know, which players would you choose, which fragrances would you choose, And maybe tell me, what football team do you support? I'd be interested to hear that, actually. That would be quite good to know. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate your support. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe if you're not. Hit the notifications buttons as well. And check me out on Instagram. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.